Hey guys, what's up? So this is going to be our Mermail Atlantean deck profile. So we've been testing out different builds recently, one with, Cold Canth and some other cards in here, and I've really hammered this down to be the best list possible. I haven't brought this to locals yet, however, on Dueling Book I have won 10 in a row. This deck list has been very solid against Mermail and even Malice on occasion, even though it's a bad matchup. Sometimes you can just win games by doing the hand rip. So without further ado, I appreciate anybody who's coming by here and checking out the video. Without further ado, let's get into it. So first off, we are playing 3 Neptibus, which is standard, as you guys know. Or may not know, I don't know. Neptibus is an insane card. You plus off it. Best normal summon, probably, honestly, in the game right now. So yeah, 3 Neptibus. We are playing 3 Shadow Squad. No, we do not have the QCRs quite yet. But Shadow Squad is also an insanely good card. Love that it's treated as an Atlantean as well, which has great synergy with Abyss Shrine. Which Abyss Shrine also treated as a Mermail card. So they're both Mermail, both Atlantean. Really just overall amazing synergy. Yeah, can't really say more about these. They're just insanely good engine pieces. Next, we are playing 3 Abyss-Teus. The 3 Abyss-Teus, one of them will be subbed out, I think, for the new card that we're getting in January, because the new one helps go second more, whereas this is kind of more of a just going first card, helps discard, but still a great card. And then we do have our playset of QCR Dragoons. Dragoons is also very amazing. The 9 ones per turn, foolish. You send it off of, pretty much anything that you can. It's just free, right? Next, we are going to play 2 Abyss Pike and 1 Harpooner. Now, I found this to be useful in the sense that in your standard combo line, you're going 1 Abyss Pike anyways and sending the Dragoon off cost, which then obviously you're searching out whatever Sea Serpent like Mole and Glacia. But for this specific ratio, I like the diversity of having, like, if I draw Abyss Pike and Harpooner, I can use Harpooner and just use the Abyss Pike as water, discard fodder. But with your Harpooner, if I have a water in a hand, let's say I can't summon, I can just use him to special out, Colin Canth, because Colin Canth obviously is, I'm not using the normal summon a lot of times for Colin Canth, but it does come up every now and then. It saves an extra deck spot as well, but I've been messing around with Dragite in the extra deck as well with Harpooner. I just think Harpooner having a 2 Abyss Pike, 1 Harpooner ratio is good. 3 Abyss Pike, especially since it's Abyss Pike's a hard once. Just having more versatility in the deck, I think, has helped a lot. Especially in the grind game, if you have Harpooner, like you shuffle back in the deck, you have these 2 plus Dragite, like 1 spell trap negate per turn is kind of insane, especially in the grind game. We're playing the 1 Minstrel. Might bump us up to 2 in the new list. Not quite sure yet, but it's been fine at 1. I haven't really needed to play it at 2. 1 Rain Green. These are all the 1-ups, by the way, guys. So 1 Rain Green, 1 Heavy Infantry, 1 Mullen Glacia, and 1 General Raiho. General Raiho MVP recently. If I get this out in a neutral game state, it's over. It's Jover for my opponent. Just because Raiho solos a lot of decks that need monster effects to resolve on the field. Funding the mirror match, but doesn't really do much in the mirror match. But against every other deck, Raiho is really good. So I've been making a priority kind of end with him. And then the 1 for 1 and the Trian. I messed around with the other spell, but the spell negate you don't really use right now in the format. There's not really a ton of spells being used. However, in more of a board breaker format, I would gravitate towards it. Starting off the non-engine with the one called by, still solid, right? I think it's one of the best cards you could have in the deck to counteract hand traps such as these three. The Pirellia. Pirellia, you know, 0 downside to maining in the deck. It's a water for discard. If you're going first, going second, you just get more advantage. And I'm signing the Furwasses. And then, obviously, the 3 Ash Blossoms, still one of the best generic hand traps in the game. Yeah. Can't say enough about that. 3 Nib in the main. Nib's been amazing so far, especially when you pair it with these other 6 hand traps, right? So like this combination of hand traps, I think works amazingly well in decks that can afford the space, which should be every meta deck right now. But I think this is just a really solid lineup, especially for this deck. In case you can't see it, yeah. 3 Veiler, 3 Imperm, 3 Nib. Been really, really great for me in testing and in matches. That list is at 41. So on to the extra deck. The extra deck, we are going to be using 1 Coral and Enemy. We were at 2, but decided that, like, I don't know, in the grind game, we can always, I mean, I can't shuffle it back, but if we're making a second Coral, probably not winning because we're not playing correctly, and, you know, I don't play the Atlantis package. I'd rather play Abyss Glacia going first. I find this helpful if I'm going for the double toad line, and I have 2 Bahamut Sharks left, and I just want to lick them off. You know, it becomes, it feels good. It feels good to link them off into this, especially with the 1 card in hand, because I can just search follow-up and then use Abyss Shrine to get a free draw and more follow-up. So that's felt good to go into going first, and then Neptibus, obviously. Neptibus feels amazing with all of his glory. And then we are playing not 1 Toad, 2 Toad. 2 Totally Awesomes. Card I have been making the most as of late, as well as the 2 Bahamut Sharks. Yeah, just Bahamut Sharks have been really, really, really good for me. Picked this up at Anaheim. The one Abyss Gaios, Ulti, OG, probably will get reprinted. I hope it doesn't, but either way, I'm keeping it because I think it looks better than any QCR that would be printed in it. And speaking of QCR, we are going with the 1 Poseidon Abyss Atlantean Dragonlord. Atlantean Dragonlord, I think I'm going to bump this to 2, messing around with the extra deck list a little bit. But I think at when we get the new support, I think I'll be making the Poseidon Abyss a lot more. Going first, going second, but testing pending. And then the 1 Abyss Dweller, 1 Lavirtue, and 1 Stealth Kraken. You know, Abyss Dweller comes up quite a lot against Fiendsmith matchups. This comes up a lot in the like game 3 or game 2, and I'm going first. And then Kraken, just generic, like, you know, make it. I make one of these under Fiendsmith. If they're Fiendsmith Unicorn, they rip a Dweller. I make Kraken. They can't make the, you know, Close the Moon Sky, etc., because they all come water. So. That's that. And then the last 3 are Lancia, Trishula, and Chenying. Lancia sometimes just solos decks because it gets Raiho out twice, even if you remove the Raiho. If you remove this, you're losing, you know, you're going -2 with a card in hand and a card in field and a card in grave. Sometimes -3. Trish goes hard. They really don't want to remove this. This goes hard against Fiendsmith. And then Chenying goes hard against decks that like need to pop. So, for example, Ryzeal sometimes becomes kind of hard to out the Chenying, especially if they've resolved desires and you make Chenying in like a semi-grind game, then Chenying becomes like almost unoutable for them. Yeah. Besides, they can send Aggregator and negate Chenying, but if they get to that point, then, they're just better.